Hi friends, it's Vanessa. Um, I'm going in to do makeovers on people. This is one of my very favorite days of the month. I do it like once or twice a month. I offer free makeovers because I'm building my portfolio for before and afters. And I know you guys don't see me like with a shirt on and my hair kind of dry very often, so you're welcome. Anyway, I wanted to show you, I did a little bit of eye makeup, but I had quite a nice breakout and I wanted to show you how I cover it. Um, I was putting half and half in my coffee for about a week and a half, and then I realized that milk doesn't do me well. I don't normally drink milk, so obviously it isn't, my skin is not happy with that. So I stopped with the half and half and they're starting to heal, but I got a little crazy over here and I was messing with that the other day and yesterday and last night. And I know I'm not supposed to pick. I know all you estheticians out there are cringing right now. So I'm really sorry that I picked my zit, but I'm going to show you how to cover these. All right. So I did my eyes. I'm going to do some face makeup. I tend to cover blemishes at the end. I don't color correct early on blemishes. Under my eyes I do sometimes. So actually I'll do that. I'm going to grab this is my personal palette that I use every day. And I don't use all of these colors every day, but I've got that one. And then I've got like my eyeshadow palette. So I already did my eyes. I'm going to just go in and put a little bit of, this is normally my all over color right here. It's called Candlelit, but I'm going to go in with one that's a little bit more yellow, a little darker almost. And I'm just going to kind of dab that lightly under my eye and let that sit there. When you're covering dark circles or blemishes, you actually want to cover them with the same darkness that they already are. That's counterintuitive to what we're used to. Normally you put something on a lot lighter, but what happens if you put something on that's a lot lighter, it can kind of make it look like gray or bruised. So we're going to put that darker color, which obviously does not look like my skin color at all, has a little yellow in it, so it kind of counteracts that bluish purple. The opposite of purple is yellow and the opposite of blue is orange. So color correction in that way makes sense. I might put a little bit under my nose too because I'm kind of red. All right, and while that's kind of warming up, I'm going to do the rest of my face. So I'm going to grab my Candlelit and I'm just going to kind of ignore my blemishes until the end, because I feel like sometimes if I try to cover them at the beginning, I end up swiping it off. And all of our makeup, the highlights and the contours, have coverage. So a lot of times, like look, a lot of times just from putting my highlight, I've already pretty much covered that one right there. So because I want a little bit more coverage today, I'm going to put my highlight all over. A lot of times I'll just put it in the areas that I need it, not where there's contour. But I'm going to put it almost everywhere today. So, and I'm using the Buffy brush today. The Buffy brush gives a little bit more coverage because it's really dense. So if you don't want medium to full coverage, go with a fluffier brush like your B squared. The small side of your B squared is great, or your 30-second hack. The rounded side of that one is great. I'm just going to get a little bit more coverage today. So there's that. And let me put a little bit up here. Okay, so see, I got another one right there. That one's nice, right? Just kind of crazy breakout. We all have it, don't we? If you don't, God bless you. You're so lucky. Okay, so there's my main highlight. I'm going to grab my brightening highlight, which is this one right here. I've been using linen lately. So we're going to do like a triangle section. And I'm not going to go all the way up right under my eye. I'm going to use kind of a mid color for that. I'll show you. I recommend 2 highlight colors for everybody. So your main highlight and your brightening highlight. And you can kind of do like the triangle of light. So if you want to put a little bit here, a little bit here. I like to put some here because my face dips in, my mouth dips in a little bit right there, and that light brings things forward. Dark recesses things, okay? So speaking of recessing, let's grab our contour and we're gonna get that on. I can see glitter in my makeup from when I did my Halloween stuff, so I might have some little sparkles pop up here. That's okay. All right, so get that where I want it. Not sure how I'm wearing my hair, so I always contour my 5 head and make it a 4 head. See how that instantly just kind of gives that 3D dimension? That's why our makeup's called 3D. And then a little bit on my jaw, and of course I have those pimples I have to cover right there, but I'm gonna swipe you guys away so I can see because I'm using the camera as my mirror. My nose. Don't worry, I'll get to covering the blemishes in a minute, but I might as well just show you the full thing. I kind of lay this at like a 45-degree angle on my nose to try to get a pretty straight line. And really what I'm concentrating on is making this look like a really straight line because my nose is slightly crooked and this side is a little bit more bulbous, so I always end up putting more on that side, if you can see that. But if you can just make the line down the middle look narrow, that's the key. And if it's not perfect, don't worry. We can erase things like that. All right, I'm also going to take that little bit of brightener color. Just put it right there. I'll blend it in a minute. Do you need more contour? I love contour. I used to be afraid of contour, but I love it. Okay, so you can blend with the brush, you can blend with the sponge. You know, I'm just going to blend with my B squared because I have it right here. And I usually start with my lighter color, and I don't lift the brush off a lot. I'm kind of swirling it and pressing it in. Kind of stippling it in. See how I'm pushing that in like that? And that'll blend it. The sponge is great too. And I think the sponge is kind of no fail. So you want to dampen your sponge really well. Your perfector sponge. And then you pat it. I squeeze mine out in the towel so it's not dripping. And then you just kind of bounce it off your face, almost like I'm bouncing this brush. Okay, and then I can do the dark. Almost done with the makeup part. Okay, I like to go back. When I cover my blemishes, I'll show you this, but I think I'm going to put cheek color on first. So if you're going to grab a darker cheek color, if you're afraid to use your brush, I like to put it on with my finger and just kind of dab it where I want it, because then I notice I don't get too much on the brush. And then I'm just going to grab the fluffy side of my B squared and I'm going to blend that. Kind of if you dab it with your finger, you just kind of save yourself from getting way too much on by dabbing with the brush. On those dark colors and those bright colors, I like to do that. All right, and if you get a little too far down, you can just kind of erase it with whatever's left on your brush. Okay, so you guys, I think I'm good and blended, right? Now I want to cover these blemishes, especially this one. This one's pretty bad. I'm going to kind of get up closer, but I want to show you that I'm not going to use my lightest color because it will actually make it stand out more and it'll get kind of crusty. And I kind of wish I could just put that on so I could show you, but I don't have time for that. So I'm going into my actual artist palette and I'm going to grab another color that's a lot darker. So I want to show you in comparison. This is the color that I have all over my face right now. And this is my brightening color. I'm actually going to use a little bit of this under my eyes, but earlier I used a little bit of this to counteract that bluish, purplish, reddish that was under my eyes. And I know this looks overwhelming, so don't get crazy with this. You don't have to have all this stuff. I just want to show you when you're covering a blemish that I'm actually going to go into a color that's a lot darker to cover this, because I want to cover it with the similar darkness that it already is, which is totally counterintuitive. And I think I'm going to try this one right here. This one's called Mango. I mean, it's way darker than what I would put all over my face for sure. I'm going to grab my little multitasker and I'm going to use the small end. I'm just going to get a little bit of that mango and I'm going to dab it right on there. And I usually like to let things warm up a little bit, so I'll let it sit there, and I might as well cover the other ones that are dark. The multitasker is a great tool for this. I had a breakout under here. This is hormonal. I don't think that this had to do with me drinking milk, but I think I got it. Okay, so I want to show you, you can take your finger and you can just dab it until it disappears, because you don't want to rub it off. And if you feel like that color is a little bit too dark, we can go with a lighter one. Like, I feel like it might be a little bit dark for these, but I don't think it's too dark for that one, because I already feel like it's disappeared. So you know what, I'm just going to dab into a little bit in between color and lighten those up. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so watch this one. You can do it with your finger, or I'm going to show you, I just bought this brush for myself, the Best Blend Forever. It was the one brush that I didn't have for myself, and they come in these, everything's so beautifully packaged, but comes all nice and wrapped up so it doesn't get damaged in transit. And I guess you could put these back on, but that's kind of a pain, I feel like. I'm going to use the really fluffy side of this, and I'm just going to kind of blend around the edges. And it should just start to disappear. Let me see. Not bad, not bad. Definitely better than it was. I'm going to take a picture to show you the before and after. I feel like I can give myself a little bit more contour right there. And if you don't feel like that's the perfect color, let's try another one, because that was quite a bit darker. Let's go with this one. Now, this is the one I have all over my face. So you can see this one has a lot more yellow in it. So let's dab it, and let me do it with my finger this time. The warmth of your finger sometimes just gets things to blend easier. See, now I feel like that one's too light because it almost made that show up more. You know, it made it look kind of crusty. So I feel like the mango was a better choice. All right, guys. I just wanted to show you that how I cover my blemishes. Let me go back to covering this one. I just do little dabs, and then I either blend with my finger or with a fluffy brush, just to soften the edges of it. And I always do this at the end, because I don't want to rub it off with my makeup brush everywhere else. So I've got all that done. The very last thing I said I was going to do is right under my eyes. I feel like there's kind of a mid, I don't want to go way up under here under my lash line, but right here I feel like I can brighten a little bit, but my brightener color was too light. So I'm going to take the next color down. For me, it's Aura. And I'm just going to dab right there. And ring finger has the lightest touch, so that's why I like to use it. If you don't feel comfortable with that, you can totally use a brush. Let's grab that little BFF or BBF, Best Blend Forever. But see how that just kind of took away some of that bag? Oh, and I forgot that friend. Let me get rid of that friend. I don't want to be friends with them. So let's do that. And then the one last trick that I do when I've covered a blemish like that is I set with powder. We have a vanilla dust powder that you can use. Let me see if I can find mine. Or you can just use a translucent powder. So, like I have a couple of loose translucent powders that I use. So I'm just going to take and dab that on those spots. And this is called baking, but it sets them so they stay covered. And also, if you have any shiny spots that you want to cover, or places that you know, and I also like to do it under my eyes. It is a myth that if you have fine lines and wrinkles that you shouldn't use powder under your eyes. It's a myth. It just depends what powder you're choosing. So we're going to set that, let it sit for a minute, and then you can grab your B squared and you can just kind of dust it off after it's set. I actually am going to add a little bit of bronzer because I love my Bella bronzer, so I will show you that. And I'm just going to do it right on top of this. So this is my Bella bronzer right here. The B squared brush is actually blush and bronzer. And if you buy them together, you save $10. So I recommend this for just about everybody because the bronzer is the perfect color for all skin tones. But it just kind of warms everything up. And then I'm just going to continue to dust the rest of that off. And that's it. And we're done. And look, that blemish is surely a lot less obvious than it was. So I'm going to take a screenshot of it and compare the two. All right, you guys. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, let me know. I still look a little pale. I want more bronzer. Okay, have a beautiful day.